say that you condemn white supremacy?
I'm not going to recite some catechism for you. I'm against vicious racial discrimination in this country. So I'm not pledging allegiance to your new religion of modern wokeism, which absolutely fits the test. I'm not going to bend the knee to your religion. I'm sorry. I'm not asking you to bend the knee to mine, and I'm not going to bend the knee to yours. But do I condemn vicious racial discrimination? Yes, I do. Am I going to play your silly game of gotcha? No, I'm not. And frankly, this is why people have lost trust. And I know you're going to go print the headline tomorrow. I already know this. We already know how your game works. Vivic Ramaswamy refuses to condemn white supremacy because you asked a stupid question. The reality is, I condemn vicious racial discrimination in this country, but the kind of vicious and systematic racial discrimination we see today is discrimination on the basis of race in a very different direction. You want to know what the best way is to end discrimination on the basis of race? Stop discriminating on the basis of race. Do that, and we're going to move this country forward. And I don't care whether you're black or white or brown or anything in between. That's how we're going to unite this country. You people have been responsible for dividing this country to a breaking point, creating a projection of national division. I meet people from the south side of Chicago to meetings like this one of every shade of melanin, multiple, from man to woman, doesn't make a difference, who are hungry for reviving unity in this country. And you, with your catechism that you try to get to politicians to whatever fake headline you're going to print on the basis of this conversation tomorrow, that's what's dividing this country to a breaking point. Shame on you. Look people in the eye and tell them what you've actually failed to tell them for the last 5 years. Own the accountability for your own failures as the media. That's how we rebuild trust in this country. And until then, I don't have a lot of patience to play the games.
Hey there, guys. Welcome to the channel. So you see that in the open. As usual, and right on cue, the mainstream liberal media, they expect conservative candidates, and only conservative candidates, to repeat, say, and repeat again every goofy, loaded line that they command. And if it's not said just right or with the right inflection or the right feeling, then the very, very next day, or maybe even later that evening, all you'll hear making the rounds on all the lefty echo bubble goofy channels is that so-and-so refuses to denounce this ist or that ism or this supremacy or that supremacy. They did it to Trump habitually. They're still doing it to Trump. They did it to Larry freaking Elder, who was hilariously called the black face of white supremacy. And now they expect their mushy-brained victims of propaganda to believe that Vivic Ramaswamy, an American born to Indian parents, is in this presidential race in the quest for the furtherance of pro-white racism, or white supremacy, whatever you want to call it. The problem that they're going to have is that he's too smart for them. He was too smart for them when they seeded the question, and he's too smart for them when they try to double and triple down. Have a look at this second effort, guys. But first, before we do it, guys, if you haven't already, help the channel continue to grow, be a part of our growth. In 2024, it's going to be more and more difficult to get conservative voices heard, so make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Most importantly, share the channel. Really do appreciate the support, guys. Take a look at this display from Vivek.
Let's talk about white supremacy and what happened last night for a moment, because when you were talking to reporters last night, you called white supremacy a myth. When someone asked you about Dylan Roof, you said you didn't know who that is. Have you looked up what happened in 2015?
Yeah, look, I said this last night. Invidious racial discrimination is wrong no matter how it happens. But if a Washington Post reporter is asking me almost like a catechism, whatever question I said, I'm against invidious racial discrimination, whatever form it takes, but says, do you denounce white supremacy? It's incumbent on us for us to define what white supremacy is. I wrote my book, Woke Inc., and I've written about the detailed understanding of what the popular understanding of these terms have come to mean. Do you believe punctuality is a vestige of white supremacy, Dasha?
Look,
because if you don't, then you have a disagreement about many of the people who are defining those terms, or the written word, or the use, or the nuclear family. These aren't my words. These are the words of intellectual proponents from Ibram Kendi to the Ayanna Presleys to BLM that have said these are vestiges of white supremacy. So
Mr. Ramaswamy,
we can't have it both ways.
What you do, though,
we have to have an
choose,
honest discussion.
Straw man arguments.
Last night
you brought up Jussie Smollett as the best
Jussie
example
Smollett
of white
was the
supremacy.
hottest thing in news in the back of a fake actual attack on him that we have to contend with.
And yet you have examples like the Buffalo shooter in New York just in 2022.
You have other examples.
But you are also cherry picking when you bring up Jussie Smollett.
I'll look at all of the statistics. More black on black crime. If you really care about actual crime against black Americans, let's get to the root causes of it in the inner cities of this
Look,
country.
The Anti-Defamation League tracked a 38% increase in white supremacist propaganda last year.
Who's tracking that?
The Anti-Defamation League.
Yeah, the ADL, I don't think is a particularly credible source when they have a cherry-picked information.
When we're talking about
I would suggest look at there's a table, 2x2 table, federal law enforcement data, which you could say what you do. Maybe we shouldn't believe that either. But look at black on Asian crime, black on black crime,
the FBI
white on black
hate crime statistics. That's a law enforcement agency. 59.1% was based on race, ethnicity, and ancestry, saying hate crimes rose 12% between 2020 and 2021.
Look at the absolute crimes themselves. What they classify as a hate crime is itself a political judgment. I think that when you actually care about protecting life, if you want to say Black Lives Matter, let's look at where black lives are actually being lost. It's in the cities, at the heart of other black Americans and criminals that are restrained by the absence
that we talk about as well. But are we supposed to ignore white supremacist hate crimes?
We're not supposed to ignore any kind of crime, Dasha. That's what I say. But what I see is a selective reporting. Take the Nashville Transgender Shooter Manifesto. Every shooter manifesto in a mass shooting has been released within 48 hours, except for that one shooter in Nashville. Now, it ended up being leaked. What do you see? It wasn't a white supremacist. It was somebody that was actually making fun of using derogatory terms. I believe.
Okay, so why are you okay talking about that manifesto and not talking about the manifesto from the 2015?
I'm more than okay talking about both. But what I'm asking is, why is the mainstream media suppress that one? Why did the police suppress that one? Why was that the one shooter manifesto that of all of the mass shootings, every other shooter manifesto has been released? I'm focused on that one because that's the one that's been hidden from us. And it comes back to the point of my candidacy and the way I'm going to run this country. Trust the people with the truth. If it doesn't match your narrative,
the reality is right now,
I think the media did not hold the police accountable. They would have been demanding that.
Starting to gain traction with the black community, with Latino voters. Do not worry that your rhetoric is pushing them away. There are folks
to the contrary. I think we're going to bring black people into this movement
who are concerned about your rhetoric.
Well, you know what? I'm concerned about their corruption. How do those align with historical racial injustice?
Affirmative action is a debate that is being had.
If I may just finish this. If I may finish my point,
Dasha.
Deal with racism. I think I will be better positioned.
You're denying that racism is a problem.
I've never denied that racism is a problem. And if you listen to the response I gave to that black pastor, my whole point is racism has been a major problem for most of our national history.
You guys see that. So look, I'm no professional, right? But I think I might have some advice for some of these shill reporters. You know, when you're trying to trap someone, when you think that you're smarter than them and that your question is going to be forever remembered in the Gotcha Hall of Fame, then just shut up and get out of the way. It's either going to work or it's not. But when you have to constantly interject and attempt to make your point just to keep your fragile experiment on track, then you're probably on the wrong track to begin with. Especially when, you know, what you have to interject are just more lies, more manipulations. And really, it's crazy, man. It is crazy. It's as if these people haven't watched the last 24 Ramaswamy interviews where he absolutely levels dishonest reporters. I mean, the guy literally ended the career of Don Lemon live on TV. What are they thinking? Why are they even trying to go down that road? You know, I fear that the answer is that they're not thinking. These people, they're not really exactly known for thinking. They're known for saying. And I don't think that they fully understand the figures and the so-called facts that they're even referencing. You know, she quotes the FBI stats that hate crimes are up. Yeah, this is true. They're way up. But that doesn't mean that the people committing the crimes are white supremacists. Attacks on Asians are way up. Attacks on Jews are way up. And believe it or not, attacks on whites themselves are also way up. You know, some of them, in fact, all of them, all those metrics are sadly way, way up. You know, it doesn't exactly fit the profile to attack the Indian guy. It's actually freaking amazing when you think about it. But this reporter probably has absolutely no clue about any of that. You know, she only reads about, is only told about, more likely, and only promotes propaganda about crimes and incidents that completely fit her narrative. You know, I'm sure she'd love to talk to Vivek about school shootings, but if she does, the most recent example, that won't be on the menu, and we all know why. But anyway, guys, that's all I've got. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you haven't already, guys, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, most importantly, share the channel. We'll see you in the next one.